Okay, listen, we'll try to start it. Okay, so let me take that one bolt out of the side cover and we'll get in there. And the first thing I really want to do, I took them side covers off, but you know, something I would usually do is test the battery. If nothing else, it tells you what kind of shape it's in. Hard to get on the battery post itself. What this is 550 or 525 cold cranking amp. Good recharge. It's always nice to know that the battery's, I mean, you can fight something and then find out it's the battery. Okay, I'm going to put the test light right on the starter and crank it and see if it dims really bad. Oh, if I can get the key now. Can you see? Okay, I'd say pretty good chance it's the starter. That means the motor's got to pick up. So I'm sure it's a starter. I'm pretty sure I got the video of it. I had a test light on that starter bolt where the wire connects, and it was bright and hits every time, but it just sounds like the starter's grinding, or I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the flywheel is going to look like. But the starter is down in here. Okay. Yeah. So that PTO belt's gonna have to come off. Just for both of us' sake, they got a bumper here. It looks like a couple bolts. That all's gonna have to come off of there. Wow, I just zoomed in. And I may or may not have to do the drive shaft bolts. If I can roll this thing up far enough and get the starter on, roll it back down, I won't touch the drive shaft. But to get the grill out, I gotta get this bumper off. So we got that off of there. I got it sitting over here. The grill, just there's a latch at the top. It just pulls out. And you got, right guys, left one of them in here. You got 4 of these bolts. And then I think the hood just comes right off. Hope so, hope so. Yeah, we've got another bolt. Got another bolt in the front. It's just a little 3/8 bolt. I'm gonna take a 10 off just to take the cover off. I think I need the cover off to get to the starter. Even though I gotta tip the engine up, that's just more I'll be able to see. And what I'm going to do is put these back in its place. Okay, I found that stick stuck up in there. Oh, I turned that knob loose down there. This is one of the best freed up turning knobs of all the John Deere's I work on. Got the belt off of here. Got those 2 little things off of there. And I got that piece of wood there, like a 4x4 has been cut down into a wedge. You can wedge right up in there and make this all. So I'm gonna pull that off. The only reason I'm getting that off of there is it's easier to get to them engine bolts, I believe. Because we're gonna have to loosen that engine up and rock it up out of the way. So we'll get this nut off the starter. So we get that wire off there. And there's 2 bolts holding this starter on, 1/2-inch drive sockets on them. That was snug. See, he'd be okay. Now, I'm just going to leave them right there for now. Starter's loose. And 4 bolts is going to be the next thing, and then we'll have to see if we can roll that enough to get a starter in there. I hope so. If not, then there's 4 drive shaft bolts up back in here. It wouldn't be so bad if they just put things in really easy places. Now 15mm is what them front mounts are on the motor. Okay, anybody remember what size I was using for that? I think it was 1/2-inch bolts, right? Okay, so there ain't enough height. I have to pick it up some more, huh? Let's see if I can. I don't think I'd pick up on the outside of that ear. If I could do something with that. There we have it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. So there's the starter out of there. It's funny because them bolts, they go through a boss and then they tighten up. So the starter goes up in and then the bolts goes, you know, the mounts for the bolts are back here. Weird setup, huh? I guess we can try to find a place to ground this and try it with a battery and see if it bench tests, huh? Okay, so I've got hooked to start or the battery. Alright. Now I'm gonna hook these rubber cables. One's the case there to ground it. And we're gonna try to hit on the nuts or something. See what this thing does. See, what's happening is this should fly out, but it's not. And you hear a squawk. So it definitely needs a starter. Oh. I mean, you could probably maybe play with that and get it loosened up or something. It doesn't look rusted or nothing like that, or dry. I mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't. So I don't know. Best just to replace it for as hard as it is to get it on off there. We'll have to get one going coming. Now here's a new starter compared to the old one. If you look at these, see how that one has that fin, has a fin here, and notice the bolt holes are straight up and threaded. They do make, here, I'll try to get this. They do make one that has 2 bolt holes in it on the top. Looks a little different. I can't even do that. Okay, looks a little different. Has a great big V hangs off the side of it. But these are on a bracket that comes over and kind of offset a little bit. And the holes are closer together. Okay, that's one variation of the starter. I think that's what fits on the old BF Onan 16 back there. Then you have these, and I believe the one with the solenoid has the same bolt pattern, only has a solenoid. Now these are just bolt on. The bolts just go through them holes right here. But I am going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on them bolts. And I don't try to get that starter up in there and get it bolted in tight. We'll let the engine down and see if the drive shaft's still connected. Never do this without looking for that drive shaft. You start this thing up with that drive shaft flopping up back in there, not connected, it's hard to tell what you might mess up. I'm using Vibratite, but same difference. That's plenty, more than enough. Okay, so I got the first bolt. You can kind of see where it goes in right here. So you can kind of get your fingers under there and hold that up and get the first one started. And then I just wiggle it around and get the second one started. Just do it by hand until you know for sure they're. And this is a DB electrical starter. So if you get one of those or any DB product, make sure you check all the threads and the bolts fit in them before you try to put anything on. Just from past experiences. Something big happened on the hill because there's life flight. Several ambulances. They'll go down here and land at the dam and wait on them. As far as I got that engine slid forward, the drive shaft's probably going to be slid off of there. This is kind of goofy. I gotta maybe try to, once I get the engine in there and there's no tension, make sure that doesn't touch. It's kind of a goofy connector there. There's a nut back here, a nut out here. Get those snug. You know what I mean? You don't want it to come loose, but don't break it off either. Get my pry bar, get under here and get the block of wood under there and see if I can get this engine back in there, and hope I don't have to take all that fenders off or the mower deck or something. I don't know what I gotta do. Okay, I got it back down, and I do think I overextended it and the drive shaft's off. So I got 2 choices. I can take the mower deck and the belly pan off, try to reach up in there and get it, or I can try to take those fenders off. You know, I've already got the belt off the mower deck. Okay, while laying under there, I can reach out around here and grab that front pulley of the engine, alright? I'll show you what I did to get that drive shaft back on. And you probably can't see, but up there is the front part of the drive shaft that goes into the engine. It bolts on. I ended up putting a little screwdriver in the U-joint just so I can barely turn it. And back here, let's see, I don't know what you're seeing. You can see straight above my finger, see? This was all the way off the shaft and kind of crooked, so I had to hold this straight. And once I got that started up on there, I just kind of grabbed it back here and worked it, pulled on the front of the engine until I got it, you know, pressure back, and then I just turned it with a wee little bit with a screwdriver and it fell right back together. So I'm thankful that that went back together. I had to take the fenders and stuff off. Cause see all these lines and stuff? If you start that up and that drive shaft ain't hooked anything back there, you're gonna destroy all kinds of stuff. Okay, so there's a belt tab under here. Make sure the belt goes over top of it. If I can show you or not. This one, I think the belt is a little bit short on it because I always have a hard time with this one for some reason. And it don't seem like it takes too many turns to get tension. You don't want to be over tight, you know what I'm saying? You just need enough for that belt, that V, to grip down in the pulley. Now I want to get this front end put on here and then figure out what their wiring was that fell off. Okay, so I pulled the choke out and got it up here on rabbit. Let's see if it'll start. Smells like gasoline. Well, at least we know the starter works. There's it on fire. I think I flooded it.